What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. We have some wicked news today with a brand new Sugo-Fest arriving. Not a surprise, another Sugo-Fest of course, but the Pirate Alliance Kizuna Clash is on the way. It's going to be debuting, of course, or the actual event period is going to be after the treasure map, of course. But this Sugo-Fest is actually going to be debuting on April 15th, which is only a couple of days after this video goes live, so that's pretty cool. It's going to be going live in the middle of the treasure map itself. And man, I'm pretty impressed. You know, one thing that has been kind of underwhelming with Treasure Cruise recently has been, I mean, a lot of things, obviously. I think a lot of the people in the community would kind of agree to that. But the fact that a lot of the legends that have been coming out just feel underwhelming, or just feel at that point where they're almost there, but they're not quite good enough. Obviously, we had Kinemon, Denjiro, and Odin. Those units in particular are fantastic. But, you know, Cat Dog are fine in their own way, but a lot of the other characters recently, they just feel kind of average. But this changes the game. This X-Drake character might be one of my favorite legends, at least just on paper. I really can't wait to hopefully pull this character. And yes, this is a brand new Kizuna legend. This is the first Kizuna legend of 2022, considering we've had, you know, like so many treasure map legends in a row. This is the first Kizuna legend that we've had since Kaido Crew in December. So it's actually pretty cool, yeah, I'm just so pumped to just get into this and just tell you guys about this character. There's a new Zoro character as well that's a Kizuna Clash rare recruit. Though there is one thing that is a little bit strange, is that there was no data download for the free-to-play Kizuna character that we farm for in the Kizuna, right? That isn't data downloaded yet. However, due to the artworks of the characters, it makes sense if our Pooh is the boss. But we just don't have enough information to really say if that is for certain or not. Hopefully we get another data download soon with the actual boss character. But either way, let's go ahead and have a look at these brand new characters. We'll go through the Sugo-Fest itself so you guys understand what's going on. But here we have the brand new legend X-Drake, who is a strength striker powerhouse, and he is a super type character. And honestly, considering the way that this character is built, it is odd that he is a super type character. I think this character probably would have been a bit more valuable as a super class character, but we'll talk about it as we go along. But let's jump into the captain ability first, right? Boosting striker and powerhouse characters' attack by 5 times, 1.3 times health, and then makes their sign int slots beneficial, reduces the crew's special reverse by 10 turns, and deals non-type damage to all enemies at the end of the turn based on the number of perfects that you hit, and it can stack up to 400 times this character's attack. So there's a lot here, right? This is a fantastic captain ability, but as I said, a little bit weird that he is a super type character considering he doesn't really boost a color. This is kind of similar to like what Moria was, when Moria was boosting powerhouse and driven and then was an int super type character. But you know, when Moria released, super classes wasn't a thing in the game. So it is a little bit strange that they've opted for a super type character in this regard. So captain ability, really good. There's really no complaints I have. Flat 5x captain, and then you've got matching slots, utility, and then end of turn damage as well. Like, this is going to be such a good character in a lot of content, just with the captain ability alone. Remember, when you use him as a captain, you get access to the super type, and in order to activate the special ability, you need to have one of the supernovas on your team, or one of the Toby Ropo. So that's pretty cool. There's a little bit of variety there in terms of characters, but it is a little bit of a shame that there's no like additional requirements, you know, like a certain requirement that you can fulfill in the middle of a quest in order to activate it. You know, it would have been cool if it was like a full team of striker and powerhouse, then you can activate the effect. That would have been nice, but the effect itself providing a 100 times character's attack in typeless damage to all enemies, and it bypasses all defensive effects and base defense. Such a great super type special off the bat, also providing a -1 cooldown to striker and powerhouse and making their dex and quick slots beneficial. It's so good. This is very reminiscent of the Sweet Commanders, right? Sweet Commanders also have an effect very similar to this, but you know, obviously just adding dex and quick slots beneficial, which is pretty cool because if you have him as your captain, you get this where he makes dex and quick slots beneficial, as well as making psi and int slots beneficial as well. So if you are running like a full strength team, you're basically always going to have matching slots, or at least all the type slots will be considered matching. So it's a little weird that it is only you know, dex and quick. It would have been interesting if it just made all slots beneficial for one turn. But, you know, you can't really complain because it still allows you to get around special reverse mechanics, even though he already does that as a captain. Just providing additional speed farming is so good. And then his special ability, 13 turn cooldown, which I assume is going to be its max cooldown after expansion. So pre-expansion, it's probably going to be 14 turns, which is actually pretty high for a lot of legends that have released recently. But when you really think about what his special does, it makes sense, because it does a 10% health cut that ignores everything, and also boosts the attack of striker and powerhouse characters by 2.5 times, which is already very good. But then he says, if your captain is a striker or a powerhouse, he gives you a 3.0 chain boundary effect for 1 turn. If your captain is not a striker or a powerhouse, you still get a 2.5 times chain boundary. So this special ability is just incredible, and it's kind of reminiscent of Treasure Map Legend Crocodile. He's also a 2.5 attack booster for his 1 class, and gives you a 3.0 chain boundary if the certain conditions have been met. So this is great. This is a powerful special, partnered up with a really powerful captain effect, and a somewhat useful super type. So across the board, this is a very good looking legend. This is a fantastic unit. I really hope I'm able to get this guy, because he is so strong. Now, if you do not opt to use him as a captain, his crewmate effects, Striker Powerhouse, attack and HP by 60, and also Striker Powerhouse quick slots are matching. That's a really nice effect to have, considering he himself is a strength unit, so not going to have too many badly matching slots there. And then his potential abilities, he has the critical hit of an 80% chance for 10%, he has an enrage buff of 300 and 5-turn removal of increased damage taken, and slot bind reduction, completely resisting it. So just everything so far has been so good. I'm very impressed with this unit. And then the support effect attaching to any striker, and if they use a damage dealing or a health cut special, 1.75 times attack boost to strikers. Amazing. And that's the thing as well, that we really didn't even talk about. He's a striker powerhouse captain. How many good units in the game are striker or powerhouse? You got like Versus Akainu, you've got Yamato, right? Like just those two in particular. A Whitebeard and Roger, like, oh my god. Dude, this unit is really strong. Let's have a look at his PvP stuff as well. So look at that sprite right there. That sprite looks really good. And he is a debuffing style unit. So his passive provides strength teammates, level 2 CT increase, level 6 attack, and level 6 health. That's a very good passive. No complaints there. That's amazing in almost every way. Good defensively, good offensively. I like that. Let's have a look at that Rumble special. 25 CT is very low, and it targets 2 enemies with high HP for a 30% health cut. Okay. Targets teammates in a large range for crit percent up level 7, blowaway percent up level 7. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. And he also targets Dex enemies for a 70% chance of action binding them for 10 seconds. Okay. Now, one thing I like about this, right? The action binding of Dex teammates, or Dex enemies, should I say, that's actually pretty good. 70% chance is not the best, but it's far from the worst. And the fact that it's on a 25 CT, and if you use him on a team, you have the CT increase, like, always active. So this means that that's going to be really nice to have, as you'll be able to launch this special maybe 2 to 3 times per run, depending if he stays alive, which means you can have so many opportunities to action bind Dex characters. And the fact that his action binding of Dex characters, it just targets Dex enemies. Like, it doesn't matter their range or anything. All Dex enemies on the field have a chance to be action binded when you launch this special. So the damage obviously isn't a huge component of this unit, but like this is just another, you know, puzzle piece that you can use alongside some of the other really powerful strength units in the game. I don't know how good this character is going to be in PvP, but the passive alone is hard carrying this unit. He also completely evades damage over time. I don't think Dex characters really apply damage over time. The only one I can think of is PvP rare recruit Frankie. That's the only one that really comes to mind. So, oh, and even Magellan as well, but you don't really see those guys too often in PvP. But overall, a very impressive showing. I'm really looking forward to potentially getting this guy in this upcoming Sugo-Fest. We also need to talk about this Roronoa Zora, which is the brand new Kizuna rare recruit, and that artwork looks so good. Him just destroying Apu. He is a strength slash a powerhouse, and his captain ability, pretty basic, and a special ability, 12 turn cooldown, reduces one enemy health by 10%, that ignores everything, reduces special charge time by 1, and it also changes all slots to strength through block slots. That's great. And if the crew has an attack buff and a slot effect boost, when you launch the special, it will further increase the attack and orb boost by plus 0.2. Okay, so this is one that buffs both attack and orb boost. but it is only plus 0.2, which is not a very big increase. But then again, if you use like the brand new Legend X Drake and then an Orb booster, you can make X Drake become a 2.7 attack booster. Pretty incredible. But then it also says drastically reduce enemy defense for 1 turn and then give you 2 times damage against defense down for 1 turn otherwise. Okay, so if you launch the special and you have both attack and orb boost, you buff it. If you don't have both of those buffs active, he'll give you a self-proccing defense down conditional instead. That's interesting, and well, I guess it's kind of annoying because he only drastically reduces enemy defense. He doesn't reduce it by 100%, so that's a huge missed opportunity there. But at the end of the day, you can still potentially get a defense down conditional from this character. He does health cut, which is a damage dealing special, which is good. Full board of strength slots. I think this character is going to see a little bit of play moving forward. I'm not really too sure if he's going to be like that go-to character you're going to use in a lot of content, but it just seems interesting because even if you're not buffing, I mean, it's still going to be health cut, special charge time. Oh, I hope he has that crewmate effect. Okay, he does. He resists 2 turns of special reversed, which is perfect. But of course, if you're using X-Drake as the captain, he does resist special reverse anyway. Maybe they're going to put some of that special lock in this upcoming Kizuna where you can't charge your special when you move on per turn. Like you have to use a cooldown reducing special. That might be applicable in this Kizuna. We'll have to wait and see. He also makes strength slots matching to Slasher and Powerhouse. That's perfect with his special ability. That is, oh man, this Zora is really good. And slot bind reduction and a critical hit. And his support effect attaching to any of the Straw Hats, and if they use a special, changes their slot to strength and drastically reduce defense for 1 turn. Okay, I'm pretty impressed. The Zora character, not too bad. Works very well with the brand new X-Drake coming out too. And these 2 new characters are debuting on this Sugo-Fest. So we need to talk about this Sugo-Fest and talk about how good or bad it actually is. Now, do remember, the anniversary Sugo-Fest is going to be coming May 12th. So it's not that far away. I do think many people out there should be avoiding a Sugo-Fest like this. And, you know, what happened last year on Japan's anniversary is that they debuted Capone Crew, you know, the month prior to the anniversary. They had the anniversary Sugo-Fest, and then like a week or 2 after the anniversary Sugo-Fest, they had the Kizuna Sugo-Fest again with Sabo and Ace featured. So the thing is while this X-Drake is incredible, they may have another Kizuna legend like already queued up for next month after the anniversary Sugo-Fest, in which X-Drake would likely be boosted again. That's what happened last year, but then again, we have a lot more Kizuna legends now, so it's hard to really predict what they're going to do. This X-Drake is a very powerful legend. I think he is one of the best Kizuna legends in the game, to be honest. He's incredible, but is it really worth pulling? I think it's definitely worthwhile to just hold off and definitely hold your gems until later and potentially try and get him later. Personally, I'll be doing a couple multis for sure, but let's have a look and see what this Sugo-Fest is actually about, right? So the first multi is discounted, so that's something good to see. But the steps are terrible. I mean, legend or rate boosted steps, we've already talked about that extensively in the past and how terrible those steps are. Now, the third multi is a recommended character. Now, the interesting thing here is there are so many recommended units, right? So you got Drake and Zoro, the 2 new characters, everyone wants to get them. The brand new Brook is also boosted here, which is fantastic. Personally, don't own him yet, so I would love to get my hands on him. But then we've also got Kaido Crew are also going to be boosted. Remember, he is a unit that's focused around the Powerhouse class, so this unit's going to work perfectly with X-Drake. We've also got V2 Kuzan, which we're going to be talking about in this video as well, as he did receive his super evolution. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but for some reason, he is featured on this banner when we just got him for free from the Super Pirate Rumble. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Some people are going to get this guy on the third multi, and I'm going to be so upset for those people. This is a terrible decision. He really shouldn't be here. The Kizuna Komurasaki is also featured, as well as Miyagi and Tristan, which I think is actually pretty good because these characters are somewhat newish, and I think a lot of people might have missed the opportunity to pull them. So it's nice that they're featured once again. But yeah, if you have a look at it, right, you've got X-Drake, you've got Brook, you've got Kaido Crew, and Kuzan. You've got 4 legends that you can potentially get from the recommended step. But then for rare recruits, you've got Zoro, then you've got Komurasaki, Miyagi, and Tristan. That's it. So you got 3 rare recruits and 4 legends that can be available on the recommended step. So the variety is pretty large. Then you've got pretty terrible steps. You got a guaranteed legend on the 5th. You've got another legend on the 8th. And then 10th is another recommended step. And of course, this will continuously cycle until the 25th multi, in which Drake will drop as a guaranteed legend. So I do not recommend doing 25 multis for Drake right before the anniversary Sugo-Fest. That is a terrible decision. But X-Drake is a very good character. Now we need to talk about V2 Kuzan getting a 6+, dude. It is crazy that they took a whole month for this to actually happen. It made a lot of sense if they would have released it with the Super Pyre Rumble. They didn't do it, but now we're getting it now with his Super Evolution arriving in this upcoming Kizuna. So now, if we have a look, just a brief look at the old school V2 Kuzan, Captain ability was pretty mid, you know, Quick and Psy 3.25 attack, 1.35 health, making Quick and Psy slots matching, but then if you attack in the order of Psy, and then Quick, your boost would go up by 1.25. Which would equate to around a 4 times boost if you hit in the order of Psy, and then Quick. So only half of your team got the big buff. So that was his Captain ability, and then the special ability is still good, shuffling all slots into either Quick or Psy, and giving Quick and Psy a 2.25 times attack boost. Pretty good set of skills for when he came out, incredibly strong character. So I'm very intrigued to see what they've done to buff V2 Kuzan. So his artwork, can we just have a look at his artwork? And if you actually look really closely, right at the front of the artwork is actually Doflamingo from Punk Hazard. So they've done a fantastic job with all of the artworks of these brand new characters. They look so good. So V2 Kuzan is a Psy unit, and he is also Striker and Shooter, so class and color did not change. Captain effect, boosting Quick and Psy by 3.5 with a 1.35 health. So that's slightly different. Getting buffed from 3.25 up to 3.5, so a very minor upgrade there. And also makes their Quick and Psy slots have matching slot effects. And if you attack in the order of good or better, in the order of Psy and then Quick without breaking the chain, you get an additional 1.2 boost. So instead of having to be Psy, then Quick, it is now just Psy then Quick. So they're just cutting a unit out of that chain, which means that it's a lot easier to get the buffed attack boost, which means that if you have, if you hit in that order of Psy then Quick, it'll become a 4.2 times attack boost to the Captain. But remember that this character actually does get a buffed Captain effect via Limit Break expansion. So I assume that with Limit Break expansion, this buff in terms of the multiplier is probably going to be around 4.5. That's going to be my assumption. I don't actually know. But if I had to take a guess, that would be my assumption. 4.5 times if you attack in that order. Captain effect, I was hoping that he got like a utility effect in his Captain effect. Despite all that, I think it's actually relatively acceptable. This is a pretty good Captain effect, and it's going to see a lot of use in other events that he's going to be boosted in the future, so that's great. Let's have a look at his special ability though. So this is a lot longer than his previous one. So it does 100 times his attack in typeless damage to only a single enemy, but it does ignore everything including base defense. He reduces Rainbow Shield and Threshold by 2 turns, interesting. And then he changes all slots including block into matching. That is slightly different. Previously, it was all slots to Quick and Psy, but now it's all slots to matching. I think that's a huge change. I love that. And then he boosts the attack of Quick and Psy by 2.25 for 1 turn. So the attack boost unfortunately didn't get an upgrade. It would have been nice if it did. But then it says, if 20 or more Quick or Psy slots have been used before you launch the special, reduces his special charge time by 12 turns. So it's like a pseudo double special activation. That's interesting, but 20 slots, that's a lot. I think in a lot of regular content, you're not going to get that. Potentially in like raids and arenas, yeah, you could definitely get it, but like for short form content like Kizuna or Treasure Map or stuff like that, you're really not going to see that additional effect. Like, you'll need to see it twice, right? You're not going to need it twice. But even like Garb challenges, maybe you might see it in Garb challenges. We might have to actually go ahead and use him in some Garb challenges to see how that kind of pans out. But that's pretty cool. I really like this unit's kit. I think that across the board, they've done some pretty decent upgrades. Not the upgrades that I was expecting, but this is pretty interesting. And I do like the fact that if you do get his special to like fully charge once again, you can get like 2 hits of like utility. You can get like 4 turns of Rainbow Shield and 4 turns of Threshold removal. It's cool. I think it's a pretty cool buff, and it just gets me super excited to see what would they even have planned for a V2 Akainu getting a 6+. Well, dude, that would be insane. Let's have a look at his PvP stuff. So Sprite looks amazing, by the way. His passive is going to give Quick and Psy characters level 6 attack, level 6 speed, level 3 defense. Holy, that is an incredible passive. That's going to see a lot of play for sure. Yeah, I mean, he is a Psy unit, so he's probably only going to see play on Psy teams, but there's a lot of competition on Psy teams, so I don't really know how much he's going to see play. Let's have a look at his special ability. His special targets all enemies for 3,500 fixed damage. That's very good. Targets strength and int characters for defense down level 5 and CT down level 5 for 28 seconds. That is an incredible amount of time. The only real problem with that is that he's on a 34 CT, which is a tad higher than we really would have wanted. But that is so good. That is a very good special. If that was down to like maybe a 30 CT, we would have been cooking with gas with that one. But honestly, despite the insane amount of cooldown on this is a character I really want to try out. I mean, I think if you partner it up with like Wano Law, for example, who will give a CT speed buff to side characters, I think this could have some synergy. Now, he's not a free spirit unit, so he won't work with characters like Odin, for example, but I still think that he has some room here. I think that he definitely has a place in PvP. I think this is a very, very good unit, and I'm definitely going to get him maxed out, ready for PvP. He looks great. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this brand new character, not only for Kuzan, but also the X-Drake. I think this is a fantastic data downloaded, introducing some really nice upgrades. This is a fantastic super evolution, and Drake is one of the best legends that we've seen in 2022. So that is awesome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.